Good evening, it's meteorologist Michael Fecka. Welcome back to the 9 p.m. all-weather, all-streaming show that we do here every night during the workdays and on weekends. We stream it out to all of our streaming platforms as well as to Facebook Live and YouTube. So if you are joining us from either of those places, please feel free to leave us a question or a comment. Hopefully I'll be able to address it all as I go through the forecast, but if not, I'll go through at the very end and see if I can answer anything individually for you. But let's get started here with a look at our headlines. What are we tracking out for the next couple of days? Well, for tonight, it's going to remain quiet with gradually increasing cloud cover, maybe even some patchy areas of fog are possible. Then as we head into Saturday, it's going to be another cloudy and mostly cool and dry day. There is that chance for a few flurries or even some light snow showers, primarily to the north of Evansville, but it's that leading edge of snow showers that has that cold Arctic air behind it, and that's what we're going to be on alert for as we get into Sunday. The whole day Sunday is just going to be bitterly cold. We're talking about wind chill values well below zero, especially in the morning, and then maybe only hanging out in the single digits above zero through the afternoon. So very, very cold day, but it's not a long-lived cold snap here. It is just going to be a pretty quick day where it's frigid and freezing and bitter, and then we start to bounce back and we start to actually warm back up above average towards the end of next week. So if you're not a fan of this sudden wintry blast, I have better news for you on the way for next week, which I'll break down all of those details and more here on our weather show. But let's take a look at what we're looking at right now. This area of high pressure that's anchored off to our northwest, that is the core of this Arctic air. So it is continuing to slide in from northwest to southeast. And as it slides in, we've got this little clipper system that's kind of forming out and along the leading edge of that. And that's where it's bringing some snow showers across portions of Montana into areas like the Dakotas and now even into areas like Iowa. We're also expecting maybe a few flakes or a few flurries tomorrow, but really not expecting much at all in the way of accumulation. So looking at the next 12 hours here in the tri-state, temperatures will hover around freezing for the next couple of hours, but eventually drop down into the upper 20s overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow will be cooler. We'll be hovering again in the lower 30s. And then when that front moves in during the late afternoon, early evening hours, you're going to notice a quick shift in those temperatures, and you're going to feel that drop moving in pretty quickly, especially as we get into Saturday night. But let's track everything out here through the day tomorrow. So again, clouds continue to fill in overnight, so we're waking up to mostly cloudy skies tomorrow. That clipper system is going to be getting its act going well to our north by Saturday morning. As it slides off to the east, that a little bit of a front about it, you can't even see it on the monitor. The models have really backed off on the probability of those snow showers making it down into the tri-state, but you could still get grazed by a few flurries or a light snow shower there, primarily north of I-64, but I can't completely rule out a strenuous flake here in the Evansville area either. But overall, not a huge deal with those light flurries or snow showers. What will be the bigger deal is what comes behind it, and that is the colder temperatures. So temperatures are going to be dropping significantly overnight Saturday into Sunday morning. And again, not expecting much in the way of snowfall at all. Honestly, I don't even think a lot of these locations will see snowflakes, but if you do catch a light snow shower, you may be able to get a quick coating out of it. So not a very impactful system at all, and you can even see that on the winter storm impact index. Pretty much the entire tri-state clear of any impact at all. It's really just those far northern counties and the northern half of those counties that could see minimal impacts, but again, I'm really not expecting much at all for tomorrow in terms of snow. So if you came here for a nice snowfall forecast, not really giving it to you. But we are giving you a cold forecast. Here's a look at those cold alerts. We've got these cold weather advisories now in effect painted across the entire tri-state. That goes into effect tomorrow at midnight and then goes through Sunday afternoon there. And again, that is for the entire tri-state for wind chill values below zero. Well below zero. I'll show you what that looks like in a second here, but looking at the weekend forecast, temperatures drop down only into the teens by the time we get into Sunday. But you factor in some of those gustier winds, could be seeing gusts closer to 20 miles per hour especially early Sunday morning. So that's where we're expecting the coldest values or coldest wind chill values of this stretch of colder air. So looking at the feels like temperatures, this is midnight. So this is midnight Saturday / early Sunday morning. We're already down into the single digits below zero for those wind chill values. As you're waking up Sunday morning, heading out to church or whatever, it is going to be feeling like potentially anywhere between -5 to -15 degrees. Now, of course, those negative teens more likely north of I-64. I think we'll probably end up around -10 here in the Evansville area and closer to -5 as you go farther south through western Kentucky, but very, very, very cold. So I am telling you right now, if you are going to be outside at all, especially Sunday morning, you need to wear multiple layers. You need to cover up any and all exposed skin because frostbite will set in very, very quickly, and reduce time outside in general. You don't need to be outside when it feels like 1 degree. So just chill out, stay warm, watch a nice movie, drink a hot chocolate, and enjoy the time inside on Sunday. But if you have to venture out, just make sure you are prepared for that kind of cold. So that is what the alert day is in effect for on Sunday. And going over just some cold weather safety tips as we enter, late fall, early winter. We're going to see a lot more instances where we're seeing these cold blasts through the next couple of months. So it's good that we're getting this a little bit earlier so we all get a good practice round before we actually get into winter. So cold weather safety, indoor precautions, what you should do is check heating systems and carbon monoxide detectors. If you're going to be using space heaters, make sure that you're using them safely and you're taking them away from anything that is flammable or combustible. And you also want to run a trickle of water to avoid any freezing in your pipes. That's very, very important, can be very expensive to fix if your pipes freeze or burst. So you definitely want to make sure you're doing that. And then you also want to make sure you have an emergency kit just in case. Again, I don't think many of us are going to be stuck outside in this, but again, blankets, flashlight, and food, especially in your car. If you're going to be traveling out in this cold, you want to prepare for that. Now, if you're going to be outdoors, which is not something I really recommend, especially Sunday, but you want to dress in layers. Wicking, you want to moisture that, you want to wick that moisture away from your body, and then you want to have a layer that is going to insulate the heat, and then you want to have a layer of waterproof on top of that, so you don't get any moisture inside and you keep all that heat close to your body. And of course, cover all exposed skin with hats, gloves, scarves, and face masks. Of course, limiting your time outdoors, especially for children and elderly folk. And of course, staying dry is key. Wet clothes will absolutely make it feel a lot colder out there. Water is a very good conductor, and it will essentially suck any heat away from your body. So it's important you take those precautions, but while we're talking about the colder weather this weekend, it's not going to last forever. I talked about it at the start of the show. We've got warmer air on the way. Here's the latest Climate Prediction Center outlook for temperatures for the next 8 to 14 days. Now, this also includes Christmas, so December 24th, 25th, and to the 26th. This is included in that time frame, so it already looks like we're going to get a very warmer, or not a very warmer, a very warm Christmas this time around. So our chances of a white Christmas are already dwindling, and we're already 2 weeks out, even though we don't typically see white Christmases here in the tri-state all that often. But I know it's something we all try to look forward to every year. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to be the case this time around. But of course, we can still see some changes. However, with it being that warm, not expecting anything good to come of that. But let's take a look at some of your comments. Let me go ahead and check these out. Oh, it looks like my video may have never actually went, or at least maybe it's my phone that's having a problem. Okay, let's see. Will I appear back on screen? Okay, looks like I'm back. All right. Let me go ahead and read some of your comments. William says 0.14 inches of liquid precip and an inch of snow, so thank you for that. Suzanne Daly says good evening. Zach Seitz is asking if Evansville is expected to get any tornadoes or severe thunderstorms on Christmas week. It's a little bit way too early to talk about that. Obviously, we only go out 7 days here, so can't really give you a good answer on that. It's way too far out. Good evening, Jeanette. Good evening, Cheyenne. Laura Gray is watching from Dawson Springs. Thank you for tuning in. Hello, Michael says, Ricky, he hates this cold weather. I hate it too, Ricky. I'm right there with you. But hey, check this out. Nearly 60 degrees by Thursday. We can get excited for that. We just got to ignore, 16 here. That's not really the best part about this 7-day forecast. What are the models showing for Thursday? As of right now, the models are just showing a cold front moving through, and that'll bring us the chance for more scattered showers, perhaps even a few thunderstorms, but that's pretty much all that we have on what's headed our way for Thursday. What about Owensboro on Sunday? Owensboro, it's going to be frigid cold out there, just like the rest of the tri-state. But at least it'll be sunny. That's a plus. It'll look like it's warm. It's not going to feel that way either. But that is all the questions that I am seeing here. So I am going to hop off of the live stream. I'll send you guys over to 14 News at 10 for all the latest news and weather headlines. Until then, everybody, stay safe and have a great rest of your night. I'll be back here again tomorrow afternoon at 2:30 for another update on streaming only. And then, of course, we'll have our 6 and 10 o'clock show tomorrow night. So you don't want to miss a beat. Stay up to date on all of our weather headlines through the rest of this weekend. And, of course, have a great rest of your night.